I will say, just looking at the three abilities in question here, it looks like it's meant to be pretty much instant, and anything else is relatively just for flavor.
Okay.
So you can. It probably takes you a second to reorient yourself, but for the most part, you're in one place and then you're in another.
I'm not extremely well versed in the arcane arts, but could this be akin to teleporting or the circles that we use for travel? And
I mean,
and the bag of holding itself, that's interdimensional, correct? Planes of existence and such.
I don't know exactly how much Tessian knows, but he should be able to be like, yes, it sounds like a teleportation spell of some sort. There are ways to traverse the planes as well. This sounds like something similar, but far more grandiose.
I don't know what we do with this as of right now. We can ask around, but I don't think anyone in our party has any inkling as to what the source of this type of magic could be. Karash, unless you do.
I have no idea.
Yeah, no, I didn't think so. So we're at a loss.
Wow.
I feel like the visions that we've been seeing as well, that have the shimmery effect in this world, are very much. Sorry.
Well, time's up, Grail.
I know. This is the loudest ring for the dryer. Okay, it's gone.
It's Sasquatch. He's Sam Squanch. He's trying to get our attention.
No. Sam Squanch is gone. Anyway, I know for sure that they're related now in some way. It's possible, now that I think of it, that the people that we saw were not of this world, but of another.
Tessian takes a deep breath, and he's like, as it would appear that there's another material plane out there. My concern is that the magic exists, at least there, to shunt things over here, physically. And that this plane you describe, it sounds like there was something plaguing it.
Tessian starts receiving a haircut.
Just right in the middle of it. So get back. This destroyer you speak of, I know of only one thing in Aramean history that could be close to it, but it's not what it's called, and it never made it as far as Lycidian. This doesn't make sense, but I have concerns that whatever it is, what if they didn't stop it? What if it was that great a threat? Maybe these holes we've been seeing are evident of whatever happened or transpired after your grandmother was sent away from there. There might very well be an entire material plane that is fallen. An entire Aramea lost to something. We don't know what it is. And he just kind of sits and thinks on it.
Well, it's a lot to think about, but I don't see how it changes our next steps going forward. We're still bound for Timberbrook.
Agreed.
Karash, you look like you want to say something.
I'm trying to remember something.
Okay.
Oh, God.
In one of the pauses, Lunaire she kind of stands up. She says, well, Lorraine, keep me posted. I have to get back to some people who need my help, but before I go, and she clutches her holy symbol one last time and casts Mass Cure Wounds. Just want to make sure everyone is okay. It seems like the worst is behind you, but anything that will help ease your weariness. So anybody who's down hit points, there's a couple I know of for sure, but anybody who's down gets 17 points of healing.
Ooh.
Nice.
Because the sitting room of Lorene's house is certainly a 30-foot radius. And she says, I wish you well on your travels. I wish I could be more help, but again, this is unlike anything I've ever seen.
You've been a great help. Thank you.
And Tessian shakes her hand. He's got
She
to be
returns it.
polite.
Decently firm grip, not like hand crushing, just like she's strong. She says, well, anything to make my sister owe me one. And you see just the hint of like an eye roll from Lorene out of the corner of her eye. She's like, yes, we'll just add it to the ledger. And she heads out. Lorene kind of looks you guys over. She says, well, this is not what I expected from this afternoon, but I guess I'm glad to see that you're on the other side of it, or most of it.
Likewise.
You're sure you feel okay then, Grail?
Not particularly, but I'm feeling fine right now and might as well just roll with the punches.
She kind of just shakes her head. She says, I can put you up in lodging for the night if you'd like. I don't know if you intend to head to Timberbrook now. I know the window is tight, but
Have we already talked about the blade stuff?
I don't think so.
Our prisoners?
Wait, yeah.
Wait, we dropped him off.
We already
didn't
dropped him
we?
off the prison. and
No,
all.
no, no. But I just have we informed the authorities and let them know what's going on and
I
Well,
think so.
we dropped him off, so I assume that
subtly walked around the fact that I tried to chop one of their legs off.
I mean, we were in that vault for at least 5 minutes, so I don't know what you were doing then. But
just on the outside. Oh yeah, we definitely brought some people, and one of them may have almost lost a leg. Don't know who did it.
Just totally not my fault.
Victimless
Just
crime.
came off. Like, that's so weird. Does that ever happen in these parts?
I would like to point out they have a history of being thieves and liars. I'm just saying.
He's right. No, you haven't brought it up. You haven't brought up anything of what happened there to Lorene, no. But you did drop them off on your way
Okay.
to her place with the town guard for her. And they were all taken care of when you left to come here. So if you want to tell her about it, that's a separate thing. But they have been dealt with, at least to your knowledge.
I don't know.
Tessian, I think, is too deep in thought about this whole thing. I think
Yeah,
he's way too
I-
distracted about all these possibilities.
I've been pretty shocked too, but I'll engage Lorene a little bit and say, yes, if you wouldn't mind providing lodging, I think we could all use a night of just rest and contemplation before we head out tomorrow.
I'm going to go to Tessian and just say, if we're kind of alone, and just like, I'm struggling with what was the point. You know, we go through all of that. We almost lose you. We see these visions. They inform us of this future. It seems like it's information that we should be able to do something with. And yet here we are. We're powerless.
And Tessian's like, do you know the tale of the blind men and the chimera?
No, I only know the tale of the first 23 installments of The Gunslinger, unfortunately.
And Tessian's like, well, it has to do with men who can't see, but each describe a part of the chimera, the snake, the goat, the lion. They each believe it's the creature, but as a whole it is something else. I think we've only glimpsed a part of something far larger. and we may not understand what it is until we can see more than what we have.
I would say there's a part of me that is anxious whether or not we'll ever get the rest, but with the way our path has been heading, first the visions in Falstock, got it, and now one of our very own is the receiver of a necklace that's probably not even from this universe. Maybe I should have a little more faith.
And Tessian's like, well, to be clear, Grail isn't just the one bearing the necklace. Grail's also the descendant of someone who does not belong on our plane of existence. I think her dreams and everything else may be far more intertwined into this than just the necklace itself. And I think that's the reason. It's possible she might carry a bit of herself, or this other place with herself.
Oh, trust me, I've made that connection, and I have that fear. Grail's not from here. What happens if her native dimension tries to call her home?
And Titian's like, well, the good news is she's at least not entirely from there. It's only one part of her bloodline, but I suspect that if there are more pieces to be seen of this grander design, we'll find them, or, as with the necklace in that box, they'll find Grail.
I hope you're right. I don't know what it says about me. We're clued into these visions, and all I can think is I'm glad that Grail's okay. The whole town was destroyed, and I think, well, I'm glad it wasn't our dimension. I don't know.
Tessie just sort of pats him on the shoulder and is like, I think we're in like chapter 2 of this story. I think we've got a little ways to go.
Well, I'll be honest, I'm probably procrastinating because I'm not entirely thrilled about where chapter 3 is going to take place.
And Tessian just sort of smiles and looks over to Lena. Is like, well, hopefully someplace that will get Lena a little bit farther on this journey of hers.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. I, for at least a few hours, completely forgot about the Conatus.
And Tessian's like, well, not surprised. And he just pats him a little bit, and it's like, turns to Lena and everyone else. I was like, well, we rest tonight then, and then we head off tomorrow.
What time is it right now, roughly?
That's an excellent question. I mean, it's got to be like mid to late afternoon. I'd have to track back to the last session to remember for sure, but you left pretty much in the morning. So yeah, I'd say like 4 or 5.
How long is it to Timberbrook from here?
3-4 hours with
We could
horses
go to
and cart.
Timberbrook tonight.
And Tessian
All right, we could rest first. I mean, there's no rush, right?
We could be there. We could be there tonight.
I mean, we could if we really wanted to go there. But I mean, Glencogo's a nice town.
I would like to go to Timberbrook tonight.
You okay, Crash?
Yes.
What's in Timberbrook?
There may be more of my clan in Timberbrook.
Grail, are you okay to travel?
I believe so. If I take it easy.
He doesn't. Just looks to Lena. Well, Lena.
Okay. I think about it for a second. Oh God. I'm thinking, this sucks. Why do I have to make this choice? I'm gonna piss off someone.
Welcome to the devil's decision.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you my best puppy eyes. It's very awkward on a Dragonborn.
Just make a decision.
I don't think we need to rush things. The rumor you spread, how much more time do you think we have? If we were to leave tomorrow morning, would that still fit in our window? She's addressing Lorene now.
Right. She says, well, I mean, communication can spread quickly, but it's really just a question of if anybody starts to poke around. It will not hold up to scrutiny very long if someone starts to check if you're in where we said you are, but it could be days or weeks. Or it could just be a matter of you being spotted somewhere else. It could be that side of it that then makes the deception clear.
I'm going to say that we should stay tonight then. I think we need to take it easy with the information we've learned, and we'll leave early tomorrow morning. Is that fair? And I'm looking at Crash.
Yes.
Yeah, see, we spent 3 months on the ranch. We can spend a little bit of time here, right? No rush. Everybody's happy.
God, you're not wrong.
So I suppose the question is there anything you would like to do with your evening time? Lorene, as promised. Where did my Glen Kogo section go? There it went. Lorene, as promised, will set you up in Moratorio. That's the inn where you stayed. Well, where 3 of you stayed, 4 of you with Kynthea stayed a couple days ago. So she's able to hook you up with rooms there, no problem. Some of you had already kind of explored the city to some extent, at least the immediate area around the central part. Everyone is somewhat, well, Tessian and Grail are particularly kind of fatigued, but Lena and Karash, while worried, are also relatively feeling fine. They didn't have a whole lot to do today.
Yeah.
I think Tessian's going to probably just head to his room early and just sort of do, just sort of checking himself out, like if there's a mirror or something in there, just sort of making sure he's all there, just sort of like, and I don't know, just kind of taking a deep breath. He definitely thought he may not make it through the day, so he needs a little time to decompress, I think.
Okay. So Tessian heads off to his room early.
Yeah, I'm probably just gonna grab some dinner and retire early as well, and just kind of ponder my grandmother's role in all of this and what that could mean for us.
Okay. Grandmama night. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
The time traveler's granddaughter.
Yeah, and I am going to be like pretty antisocial that evening. And so if someone does want to approach me, I'm fatigued. And I probably won't get them very far after disclosing all that information and going through it all.
Yeah, take that, Karash. You don't get to hang out with Grail now.
Womp womp.
I'll probably just take a walk through some of the town a little bit, but I'm not really excited to look at everything. I'm mostly just taking a walk to think about everything we've heard today and just try and process it, because it's a lot. It's over my head a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's over Lena's head, I should say.
If I see you, I'll go with you.
Aw, okay. I would love that.
I'm going to go
Yay.
into like remote area of town or like the forest surrounding the town and do some target practice. Got to stay sharp for what's coming. At some point, I will probably go look for my typical resource run, bullets, gun parts, that sort of thing.
Yeah. We can probably subtract that part if only because you did the first time you were here.
Sweet.
So you can spend the time like you. So Isaac would know not to do that because he got what he could when you guys were there 2 days ago.
Oh.
So you can just spend your time out in the forest if you'd like. And,
Wonderful. Even better.
okay.
Training montage, just like Rocky 4.
So yeah. And although most of this area has been open, as you go north of town, it does start to get more densely packed with trees and the like. Most of the area around the Sheepstop Hollow and then in between the two towns here are relatively open, but there is more of a forested area to the north before it heads up into the mountain range. So you can certainly do that. Karash and Lena, go ahead and make a perception check.
I remember where that tab is.
We get attacked by some random nonsense out here.
A
Bandits.
10. A 10. I am not.
It's the
14.
okay. Walking about the town, you guys. I mean, Karash, you've been here before, so you can sort of guide Lena and just show her the market that you saw when you were walking around with Isaac a bit, and the points of interest in the city. Walking around, things seem peaceful, which is awfully nice. Things in the town, much like when you were first here, Karash, a couple nights ago, seem to be well under control. You do see a handful of Lorene's guards occasionally patrolling, but as you're walking about and just taking in the scenes, you see them interacting favorably with citizens. They seem to be on a first name basis in a lot of cases. Like Karash, you especially being a man of, well, a different routine the last couple of years, but used to this sort of camaraderie between shipmates and just a set schedule in general. This seems to be run much like a ship would be. Controlled, thorough, but there's a lot, like the rapport here is among the best you've seen in almost any town. Maybe Harnstead comes close, but for the most part, your interactions with the city have all been very positive, and it seems like Lorene deserves some of the credit for that.
Nice. So we're just walking around? Still?
If you'd like.
Tiny elf.
Yes.
Do you understand any of what they were saying earlier?
Oh, gosh. Kind of. Not really. It sounds like there's some complications with time and different timelines and crossing over. I don't know what to make of it. I'm concerned that my my lack of understanding is I think it could just be worse than even what I think it could be. I don't know. I don't know what it means, and it's scary.
I do not understand either. It is very confusing. If there is going to be changes in time, or could we change ourselves or meet ourselves?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it means when you when you cross over. I have a lot of questions, and I don't know if we'll get the answers anytime soon. It's scary to think about, though. I took a walk hoping that I could get my mind off of it a little bit, but now I'm just thinking about it even more and what it could mean for us. I wish I could talk to my grandmother about this. I don't know if she'd know anything, but if she was an explorer, she might be able to give some advice or something. I don't know.
I do not know either, but I'm going to make a very bad effort to distract you now, realizing you are trying to get your mind off of things. Look, vegetables. Wander over to a fruit stand or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I will follow you and ask the person at the stand if there's any fruit. Is there any fruit that I wouldn't recognize? And be like, ooh, what's that, or whatever.
Unfortunately, all run of the mill here.
Is there rhubarb is the question.
No,
Thank you.
Unfortunately, Karash bought all the rhubarb in a 150-mile radius. So alas, even a smaller town on the outskirts like Glencogo, compared to Lake Lycidian, does not have any rhubarb. They're all out of rhrubarb. Zero
Sitting in
rhubarb.
an alleyway somewhere in Lycidian. Forgotten and sad.
I will say 14 on Karash's side. As you guys are kind of walking about, you stop by the fruit stand, you check out the wares a bit. At a certain point, as you're kind of walking through the town, Karash, you do see, especially as you get into the early evening now, as the sun sets and some of the buildings start to light up in the evening, because this town is relatively well off as far as the mechanical side of things. you eventually pass by a building that, a quick glance inside, you can see appears to be a center of healing of sorts. Not a religiously based one. There are no like shrines or iconography here, but there are people in beds seemingly getting medical attention.
Oh, if I actually see that, pardon me, little elf. Excuse me. I'm just gonna walk in.
Okay, and I'll just be like, wait, where are you going? And I'm going to follow you because I'm assuming I didn't see inside yet, so I don't know where he's going. So I will follow after you a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Inside, there was that spot in Falstock where we had the infamous Dr. Karash episode that was like the side room of a shrine, so it kind of had some other purposes. This, as mentioned, no religious imagery whatsoever, but there is... It's kind of like a hospital. Now, despite the fact that this city is a little bit more mechanically advanced, there are not like IVs and heart monitors and the like. But just kind of as you step inside Karash, you see more of the conveyor belts, like what you saw in Lorena Gray's residence, that seem to be carrying medicines or vials or something else between rooms, delivering things to where patients need them. There are... This open area in the first room seemingly just has like a welcome area, but you can even see, because it's relatively open, there are probably dozens of beds off in side rooms on each side of the main entryway area. And as you're kind of just stepping inside, taking in the scene, and Lena kind of comes in behind you, maybe slightly bumps up against you as she walks in the room, you also see Lunaire hustling about, and... She seems, despite the fact that Karash sort of, looks a bit different than most, she seems preoccupied as she comes from one of the side rooms and heads towards the back, does not seem to notice your guys' presence as you're standing in the lobby area, as it were.
Is there anybody who looks like an authority figure or receptionist sort of thing?
There is a person at the front desk who is kind of buried in paperwork and doesn't think too much. Like, she looks up at you as you walk in, but seeing you not approach the desk, at least for the time being, she puts her head back down and starts working. And of course, Lunaire seems like a person of importance.
I'm gonna immediately walk up and in a very authoritarian voice, "Where are your worst patients?"
That loud?
Louder. I don't know. I don't want to scream.
That's fine.
I'm getting attention without being a complete dick, but I'm definitely like in the zone and wanting to do this.
Sure. The receptionist looks up, now kind of takes a closer look at you and seems not put off by it, but just kind of like, this is not a normal situation here. People just volunteering, but he looks up at you and he says, I don't know if I can say. We do have some patients in rough. And as he's kind of stammering through this answer, Lunaire comes back around the corner. She didn't notice you, but she heard you.
Okay.
And she says, she seems surprised as well, but she recognizes you. She says, well, I don't know if normally I would let anybody just walk in off the street and talk to folks. I'm sure you know from my sisters that sometimes privacy is a thing in this city at times, but for you, Karash, if you would like to help, I certainly wouldn't turn you down.
Yes, please.
And seeing your eagerness, she says, okay, well, right this way then. There's a couple that could certainly use your attention. She kind of looks over at Lena and are you here to help as well?
Yes, if that's okay, I'd be glad to. I do know some healing spells.
Well, excellent then. Come right this way.
In.
Yeah. She kind of leads you the opposite side around the corner from where she first came into the room. So she's come in one side and then kind of gone back through, bringing you with her to the other. There are a couple patients in this room that look in varying degrees of bad. One of them has both legs raised up in casts, and there's a pulley system that kind of has them elevated. So looks fine from the waist up, but both legs are kind of in rough shape and elevated thanks to the help of these pulleys that are holding them up in the air aloft at like a 30-degree angle. The other you can see is sort of tossing and turning in a bed. And she kind of turns to the two of you. She says, well, as you know, I have healing magic at my disposal as well, but sometimes I still struggle. In some cases, the more physical injuries seem difficult to heal with flash magic, and in others, she kind of gestures to the one who's tossing and turning. She says, I'm not even necessarily sure what's wrong with this one. He's been here for a few days now and has a fever, fades in and out of consciousness. We've been trying to give him fluids, but we're not necessarily sure. I have some medicines. I have a few other people who are practitioners of healing magic who try to work with them with spells a couple times a day, and they seem better for a while, but they return to this state. I don't know necessarily what we can do for them, but even just giving them any healing abilities you have is at least temporary relief, if not a more permanent solution.
It is not a normal disease.
I've spent a lot of time with this one in particular, again gesturing to the guy who's tossing and turning. Just like with your friend, I can sometimes sense what is wrong with them and can restore them to the way they were, but it doesn't seem to be a disease, if that makes sense. It's almost as if there's something else wrong with him. I wish I could tell you more.
I'm gonna walk over and start examining whomever's on the bed there. Tossing and turny guy.
Okay, make a medicine check. I guess with advantage if Lena's going to go over and assist.
Yeah, I'm also kind of curious about what the deal is with this guy, because at a glance, like listening to what Linner's saying, like this may not be natural. So I'm going to check that out.
Okay, so Crash gets
So we're both checking with advantage, or just one of us?
Just you. You're getting advantage because she's helping you. Let's not
21.
go crazy. Let's not go crazy.
21.
Everyone gets advantage. You kind of look the guy over, check his skin to see if it's discolored. You open his eyes, and they're as though someone is sleeping. Like there's no recognition there. Like he's out of it somehow. Kind of hold him in place for a bit just to see if you can stop the turning, and you do when you're holding him, but as soon as you let him up for a bit, he kind of slowly starts to move around the bed again. It's all subtle stuff. It's not like he's like flailing around in the bed, but he is just he looks like he's in discomfort is the best way of putting it. It's hard to tell exactly what might be wrong with him, at least with just a cursory medicine check. There's clearly something. You don't see anything visible on his exterior as far as like what might be causing it, but he is sweating, he is feverish, and he seems unable to lie still.
I do not know what this is, but I will try to help him, and I will use lay on hands to cure disease.
Okay.
Quote unquote.
How many points?
Well, cure disease requires 5.
That's right. So 5, basically enough to trip that. Okay. You kind of keep a close eye on him and so do you, Lena, as this energy kind of pulses through him from lay on hands, and you watch as the shifting, the movement, the inability to kind of stay still, does seem to stop. It seems like he lies still and may actually just be sleeping. You still notice that the fever and the sweating are there, but it does seem as though he is in better shape. And this is the point at which Lunar who's watching this over your shoulder, says, "That's good. He can use the rest. It's everything I've tried. I've tried to see if it was a disease. I've tried to check if it was some kind of curse like what afflicted your friend. I've not been able to find out what this is, but anytime somebody heals him, he improves for a while. It at least lets his body rest some. So I thank you. Maybe this will be the thing that does it. I don't know, but at the very least, it'll help for the short term.
I'll ask her like, how he got here, or like where they found him to like bring him to the hospital, if that makes sense. Like, basically, I'm gonna try to get information about like what happened to him to get him into this position, if she knows or has any information on that.
Mm-hmm. She nods. She says, I don't want to go into too many details. Again, doctor-patient confidentiality, but I can tell you at least that he had been spending time in Timberbrook recently. Apparently caught ill when he left to come here.
Okay.
And
Just so excited to go there now.
that was probably 3 or 4 days ago. He's been here for a few days now. But
Okay.
who he is, what his business was before that, even I only have so many details, and you'll understand I can't just give them all.
I'll thank her. And I'm gonna think on it for a second, and then I'm gonna turn to Crash and say, I'm gonna take care of this one over here, and then I'm gonna go and try and find Isaac. Is that okay?
Yes, I will remain here.
Okay. I kind of give you a pat on the shoulder, and I'm gonna go try to heal the person with the legs
Okay.
problem. Maybe make some small talk to make them feel better temporarily.
This is a human woman.
Wookie.
A human woman who is pretty burly, like muscular.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who definitely works on some capacity or another, like physical nature. Not somebody who's like the prim and proper gardener. No, this is somebody who's definitely doing some labor of some kind. And as you approach, she seems like she's in pain. Probably the broken legs.
Yeah.
Don't have to be a registered doctor to figure out too much of that. But she kind of looks in your direction, and she's like, I haven't seen you around here before. I've been getting friendly with the other nurses, but not so much this person. Who are you?
I just kind of laugh and say, my name is Lena. I'm not from around here, but I was hoping I could help some people. And I'd like to help you if I can.
And what are you doing to help?
I'm going to probably cure wounds. I think
Okay.
it's the best thing I have.
It's certainly among them, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Goodberry's going to do jack, so I'm just going to, yeah.
It wouldn't hurt.
I mean, not if you throw them at him.
Get her stuck in the eye. She's like, God, why?
Well, okay, maybe can I do a combination of Goodberries and cure wounds, or is that excessive?
Sure.
Okay, I will do a combination. I'm going to, how do I get Goodberries? Hold on.
You have
You have
berries,
I
and
think
you
10 of them a
into good
day, and they
berries.
each give 1 health, and they each take an action, but time is not really a factor here, so...
Oh, right. Okay, so I'm just going to, they just pop into my hand, and I'm going to explain that these are berries that should help you feel better, so I'll give her a handful of those, and then I'm going to do the cure wounds.
Okay. What level? How much does it heal?
I think I'll do, how high can I go? Can I go level 3?
I think you have a 3rd level slot now, so
I
yes.
do, so I think I'll probably just do that.
Okay.
Try and help as best as possible.
So roll for it, see what it does. It's now going to be an additional 2d8, because it's level 3.
Oh, a 2d8? I don't know if it rolled for that. It rolled a 9, but I don't know what it did with the...
I'm not in roll 20 because I'm a bad DM, so I can't tell you what it did.
Yeah, let me try and get back to the screen.
Did nothing good day, sir.
Yeah. You healed for 0 and the spell is gone. Ha!
I think it did the...
I think it does it in a separate thing. If you cast it at a higher level, it should be like, it rolled for this, and then because higher level, it did this. I'm pulling it up.
The
Oh,
above it is
I see
5.
what it did. Okay, so yeah, so it did a 5 and then a 9 as well.
14.
I think I'm reading that right, so 14 total?
I'm just trying to see why that 5 is so low. Must have been a bad 2d8.
It was.
It was.
Yep, a
4
4 and a
to
1. Yep.
It sucks.
and a 4 on the first die. So really, your wisdom modifier is carrying some of the work here. But still, 14. Just think it could be higher. That's the nice thing. That was 14, and it could be better.
Yeah.
So 14 points of healing, thanks to level 3 Cure Wounds, and 10 health from the good berries, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
You watch the good berries seem tasty. She likes eating those, and as you also then cast the spell and the energy courses through her, it does seem like her brow's been kind of furrowed, like she has been in pain. It does seem like this is of relief to her as well.
Good.
She says, "Well, you're pretty good at this. I kind of made the mistake of falling off a roof I was working on and didn't stick the landing very well.
Oh my. What kind of work were you doing?
Well, I was just fixing it, patching it up. You know, we had the late summer rains coming and trying to make sure the houses around here are all up to ship shape and they won't be leaking on us."
I nod and I say, so how long have you been doing work like this?
Oh, I've been working pretty much ever since I moved here. Probably been almost a decade now. Been here a while.
It's a nice city. I haven't been here very long, but it's nice.
Well, I have to admit, I haven't found much reason to leave ever since I came here. I hear stories about towns of other places, and doesn't sound much like I have an incentive to leave.
Yes, there have been some towns that we visited as well that are maybe not as nice as this one. Let's just put it that way.
She kind of chuckles. She says, "Well, I think you'll find plenty of people around here are nice. They try and keep to themselves overall. It's not to say they're not friendly with each other. It's just they stay here. They get what they need. They help each other. And they don't spend much time worrying about what happens in other places."
I can relate to that thought process.
Lunera kind of comes over at this point to observe your work. She says, "She looks better."
Yes, I just cast a spell and gave her some berries to eat, so I hope that'll help and help her get on the mend faster.
Well, that's a good combination. We've been trying to work with her. You know, we can keep the leg in place with some of these arrangements, and she kind of gestures to the pulley. And she says, and then we can hopefully use some of the healing magic to, you know, help help the bones fix themselves more quickly. The boons!
Look at the boon!
Look at the boon! She says, you know, we're something of a different approach here, as far as I understand. I've traveled a bit, seen some other cities, but we try and combine both magic and technological advances here, and I don't know. Overall, our patient seems to be pretty well off for it. Here, if we keep working on her, she should be back up on that roof in no time, right? And she very gently puts a hand on the side of, you know, one of the legs. So
Yeah.
she's not like...
Break them all over again.
Exactly. Oh, you're feeling better. Ah! But she says, well, I appreciate you two coming here for this. It's tough being one of the few people that have this ability in the town, but we get by. We try and do the best we can for the people here.
And I nod and I say, anything we can do to help after you helped us so much, of course, we'll do it anytime.
She nods. She says, well, think nothing of it. As someone who also has healing magics can know, if we're doing our jobs correctly, we don't do them for thanks. We just do them to help people. And if this is some sort of repayment for earlier, that's fine by me. I greatly appreciate it. But either way, I expected nothing from it. I'm just glad to know that everybody got through safely.
I give her a nod and say, well, if you'll excuse me, I need to go find one of my cohorts.
Okay.
I will see you around.
Very well. It was good seeing you again, Lena. I appreciate it.
Of course. And I'll just wave goodbye to Crash if he's looking, and if not, that's okay.
Nope. Sorry.
Nope. Hates you.
Yep, that's fine. And then I'll just take my exit.
Okay.
And I'm going to try and find Isaac, but I don't know if I know where he went, so this should be fun.